have a read through the I don't know, what was it?
Oh, okay. The caravan park there's actually one caravan park which is self-contained. About 30 vans. There might be one that's self-contained. They need flight program is would be easy. It's like 60 days.
So we're actually doing we were supposed to
Got through, I actually argued that in the CIC.
well, we can ask them because there have been various complaints.
Just to say the caravan park in there, it's it's like one might be self-contained.
With this
Need a book easy program. Book easy is about 60.
That's not the intention of this. That's never
We're doing the caravan parks. Well, tonight's full. 2:30. Like, you can't fit anything.
We're interested to see what the rubbish situation is like.
But there's people, but it's not the people that stay.
It's the walkers in the morning. That's not fair.
Yeah, it's not the people that stay. They're not supposed to be camping. There's always
I nearly forgot what we were asleep anyway.
I didn't notice it.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Nathan Shanks. I'm the current mayor of the town of Gawler. I'd like to welcome our gallery members, those that might be tuning in on YouTube Live, our elected members and staff this evening. Get a little bit of feedback through the microphones. I'd like to start with a statement of acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge this land that we meet on today is the traditional lands of the Kaurna people, and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Kaurna people as the custodians of the Greater Adelaide region, and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Kaurna people today. Once again, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I'm just going to run through the agenda in its order. We're going to start with attendance record. Our roll call, we do have Councillor Vallelonga, who did actually send me his apology later this afternoon, dealing with the loss in the family, and we pass on our condolences to Councillor Vallelonga. We have a leave of absence request with the motion for Councillor Isaac Solomon. Looking for a mover that way. Councillor Davies, you're happy to move that way? Right, Councillor Hughes, you're happy to second? Any discussion? There be none. I'm going to put that. All those in favour? That is carried unanimously. Thank you very much, members. Now, we do have a few in the public open forum tonight, which thank you very much for using this forum. Just to provide a little bit of background on public open forum, we have a 20-minute window for those that would like to address council and council staff. So what I'll try to do is we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 members. So what I'll do is I'll divide that into 4 minutes equally. If we can just try to keep it around that 4 minutes. I mean, I'm not going to, I'll be as liberal as I possibly can, but we'll move into the meeting after that. So I'm going to start with calling Emma Gray to the podium to discuss the Concordia Infrastructure Scheme. Thank you so much, Emma, for coming tonight.
I understand that housing development and infrastructure planning is critical for growth in South Australia.
Sorry, Emma.
Yep.
Just give me 2 seconds.
Can you move yours closer to you?
It should be on the ground if it's closer to me.
It's the speakers that are on above your head. Try that.
Sorry about that, Emma. Being the first one, you get to test the system.
What am I doing? Start again? You have to start again? Yep. So I'm here to talk to that first document, Concordia Infrastructure Scheme. So I understand that the housing development and infrastructure planning is critical for growth in South Australia. However, I want to raise some concerns on the recommendations to government for the Concordia Basic Infrastructure Scheme, particularly made by this council. I'm deeply concerned and frankly shocked.
I'm so sorry, Emma. Do we just switch off our microphones? Yeah. I'm so sorry for this, Emma. I think your words are too important to have a ringing playing, to be honest.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. I can break out into song if you like.
Feel free to start again if you like.
I will. Thank you. I understand that housing development and infrastructure planning is critical for growth in South Australia. However, I want to raise my concerns on the recommendations to government for the Concordia Basic Infrastructure Scheme, particularly on what was raised by this council. I'm deeply concerned and frankly shocked that my neighbours and I had to discover in complex planning documents that 3 houses are proposed for acquisition. Particularly as council have been aware of these plans for years and submitted these documents within the last few months. Whilst these three houses and their acquisitions may result in a minor deficit for the budget for Gawler Council, this actually means that a young family who are here tonight, who are residents of Gawler for the last 3 years, who plan to embed themselves in the community, have their kids attend our schools, who have been investing in their house, developing their land, are scratching their heads wondering if they've actually invested in the wrong town. We have an investor who has bought a rental property, looking to develop his property and has actually submitted a development plan to council with an unknown impact to their investment property and the development plans. And 3, a retired couple, which we have here also, who will be speaking tonight, having invested in their property in Gawler, should be enjoying their golden years and their home. Instead, they have got their house and their lives on hold, not knowing if they're going to have a roof over their head or what they're going to do. All these people are real and they're here, and we're concerned as neighbours. All of these people, if their acquisitions actually occur, will only receive a percentage of the value of their property, as we understand. Tonight we're seeking your support to talk about this further. I ask each of you at the council table, if this was your children, your parents or your grandchildren, would you expect some sort of moral obligation to inform them of the plans rather than discover these through complex planning documents? They and I have an expectation of discussion from you. You are our elected council members, especially since, Nathan, you've recently held a letter drop and corner chat around the development plans in Williston. The precedence is established and we call on you to do the same, please. I'm calling on you to back your residents' investment and discuss with us your specific recommendations to government. And I hope you can too, James. As you're aware, these documents are complex technical planning documents. We know, and I saw you there, Chris, last year, that there has been open forums, but we need them explained to us in simple layman's terms, and particularly the position of council. I'm also deeply concerned about the proposal to implement multiple lanes and traffic lights at the Cheek Avenue Barossa Valley Way intersection. I'm actually perplexed as to why Gawler Council wants to inherit the Barossa Council's traffic management issues, and by not advocating for a reconsideration and reprioritisation of Concordia's traffic management priorities, why you want to recommend the acquisition of 3 homes or cut down 19 iconic pine trees along Barossa Valley Way, let alone the trees and the stone wall that goes between Eucalyptus Drive and Barossa Valley Way. Regarding our residents in particular, I'd like to understand the process and the cost of repositioning our water meter, which is located behind those pine trees near the intersection of Cheek Avenue and Barossa Valley Way. And I call on each of you at the table to consult with us, your ratepayers and residents. We'd like to discuss some options that we've talked about to implement and prioritise the fast tracking of Concordia's traffic management. An option to implement a roundabout instead of a traffic light, which would significantly reduce the footprint required at the intersection, and walk on ways to mitigate the 30,000 plus, if we have 2 cars per household, 60,000 cars coming through and bottlenecking into Murray Street, because we all know that we all have a problem with that now. We call on you as there doesn't seem to be anyone to contact in government now. We've tried. And they also are in caretaker mode until after the election. And there's no project manager until at least May or June, July. And you have the influence to government and the responsibility to advocate for us, the residents and the ratepayers. Asking you tonight, will you commit to talking to us in the next 2 weeks so that we can use the council forums before a project manager is appointed to continue to have this discussion, please?
Turned on better than it turned off. Thank you very much, Emma, for those words. I've got your contact details there, and I'm more than happy to continue the conversation. I might hand over to the CEO if you can just touch briefly on process to date, and then also what we might be talking about in the not too distant future as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for sharing those concerns. I've actually had detailed conversations internally with my team. We are a little bit frustrated as well that the process is going a little bit quicker than perhaps the government department is setting themselves up to have these conversations. But I'm happy to commit to your request that as a council we will work to bring the parties together so that together we can have a conversation with the residents to ensure at the very least that you're fully informed, all the facts around the situation, and then we can take the conversation from there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you once again, Emma. I'm just going to put your name aside there because I'll probably send you a text offline as well. Moving forward, we have Peter Crosby about the Lindock Road, Cheek Avenue. Peter?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Following on from Emma, I am part of the retired couple who live at 96A Lindock Road. Just over a week ago, we found out our previously known about roundabout at the Cheek Avenue junction is going to be replaced by an over-the-top signalised junction. As part of the junction, as Emma said, 3 houses are under threat to be acquired for the Concordia development, ours 98 and 95, plus the trees, and none of the occupants have the slightest idea. We're all totally disgusted by the facts, and over the last week have tried to find out more information, and thus far all we have is that the roundabout is out and it's going to be a junction, but there is no detailed design. Sorry to repeat what Emma's already said. Apart from the sleepless nights since we found out, the impact on us, we have no plan B. We retired to this house in Gawler from Redwood Park. We love our house, and we have no plan B. We don't have the finances to go and buy another house. You've rendered our house unsellable now, or the government through the Concordia development really has rendered it unsellable and put our lives in limbo. We understand that this is mainly a state issue, but hope the Gawler Council will listen to their residents. It's understandable that traffic from Concordia will have a massive impact on Gawler, particularly Lindock Road, and planning will try to ensure that a Curtis Road type problem does not happen here. Well, guess what? Until Concordia to Sturt Highway link is in, there will be a problem. You only need to look at the bottom of Lindock Road and Murray Street to realise 75% of the traffic turns right. It doesn't go left, it doesn't go down Murray Street. I know you want the traffic to go down Cheek Avenue for southbound, but currently 75% of the traffic, just by standing there and watching, goes right. And where's it going? Up to the expressway or train station, but probably the expressway. And don't talk about the freight, that is just another problem altogether. So there will be a problem, like it or not, until that link road is in. Why is the link road in future phases and not in phase 0 with the water infrastructure? The millions of dollars. I ride my bike to Lindock, I can see the work that's going on, the water tanks. If that's all going in, why can't a link road be put in phase 0? Assuming the worst and that Lindock Road does become a 4-lane highway to Concordia, then when will we be informed and when will we be able to have our input? As I said, we're a retired couple who moved here over 3 years ago, intending this to be our last move into our perfect home. The other 2 property owners, as you've heard, is a young family and a developer, and I don't believe any of us have a plan B or the finances to have a plan B. So to conclude, we just want some regular information, timescales, and the option to have input. Really, should the 4-lane highway junction happen, adequate notice and compensation obviously will be the #1 priority. We don't want to have our bedroom next to that 4-lane highway, bedroom being at the front of the house, and I think that's the same for 98 Lyndoch as well. All Lyndoch Road is going to be affected by this development, and we suspect that a lot of people are unaware of what's coming and what you guys are discussing and the plans that are in place. Yes, there's been information, but people have blinkers on. We did. We'd known from day one there was going to be there was a potential to be a roundabout at Cheek Avenue, Lyndoch Road. We now told that's not it. So we're just asking for information, timescales, and get the link road in.
Perfect. Thank you so much for those words, Peter. They certainly strengthen conversations that I'm certainly having on a federal level and a state level as well. Any chance we get, because I completely agree that link road is long overdue, regardless of any development that might be coming about freight routes and the like. Your words absolutely align with what we are trying to have in those conversations piece. But I've actually just put your tag as well along with Emma's, and I'll just probably give you a buzz too, just to make sure that that street corner is also talked about. And I think we get along great on that particular time. I look forward to it. Yep, no, that's fine. No worries at all. Ms. CEO, did you want to add anything in regards to the link road? I know it's something we've been advocating pretty hard for.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You've covered it pretty well. I just want to make assure the community it is one of the hardest things we're lobbying for as a council, that piece of infrastructure goes in sooner rather than later. We are hearing lots of reasons from the government, perhaps why it won't go in initially, but we are still going to keep advocating that it should. But as the Mayor said, happy to catch up and talk more broadly about the specifics of that intersection as well. My thoughts are, if we can get a contact within government, we can work on a joint communication piece for all the residents along that route, Cheek, Lyndoch, and particularly the intersections works. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks once again, Peter. I've got James Agnes. I've got James Agnes down for both the James Street and the public art. If you'd like to come up, James Agnes, candidate for light.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the opportunity to speak this evening. I'll start on James Street very briefly and credit yourself and Chris and Andrew for coming out on Valentine's Day, no less, to talk about the issue of James Street. I've written a letter condensing what we heard that Saturday morning and put on record my concern over the 33 dwellings that are proposed by the developer on that site for a range of reasons. I won't go through that letter line by line, but I'll let all the councillors have a look at that. And I would urge them, Andrew and his council staff, to explore the powers invested in it by the Plan Development Infrastructure Act to use its performance planning powers to assess that development to its best of ability to retain the character, aesthetic and heritage prestige of that street, given, I think, from what we heard, there is an acknowledgement that development could happen on that site. Just the quantum of dwellings is really the issue that we are facing, and I'm sure a petition will say something similar to that. The second issue is a issue of public art. And I'll just read you a quote very, very briefly, if you'll indulge me for 2 seconds as I find it. Street art possesses the power to transform drab urban spaces into vibrant cultural hubs, acting as a catalyst for social change, community identity and economic revitalisation. By turning public walls into canvases, artists challenge social norms, provoke thought and inspire, often boasting local tourism and increasing property values. The University College of London, 2016. So I want to take this opportunity I've been afforded by Council to thank Mayor Shanks, Deborah Good from the Arts on the Plains Festival, and Daniel James Dan, who's behind me, to congratulate them on what they've begun to establish in Gawler with respect to public art. Centenary Lane is an iconic piece of art now, and I think we've got an opportunity in the town to really advocate and use art and open space to draw more people in, to build on some of the great work from former Councillor Ethan White with the RV site, to create a walking link with Mosaics Foundation, and it's really pleasing that a re-elected Malinauskas government has created a mural fund for the TAN in the hope that together, building on the work of Nathan, Deborah and Daniel, that we'll be able to really breathe some new life and tell some new stories of Gawler. As the TAN continues to evolve with the Genos development just down the road, activating some of those laneways as well might provide alternative options, and I really look forward to working with the council should you discuss future topics on your agenda later on to really invest in the opportunity before you, given you now have state money. I know Deborah's very excited and she'll be seeking additional value add money as well to really create a pool of money where we can put something new into the TAN, keeping the heritage and creating art walks, history walks, parlaying it, really bringing people into the middle of Gawler. So with that, I'll close, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr Agnes. And just to clarify, as much as I'd like to take credit, the council decision actually got behind that initiative and released some of the funding for the initial side of it, and it's just grown since then. I think there's a good appetite within the community, and seeing the state government actually recognise that. Thank you very much for your investment, should Labor get up in March. Okay, so moving forward, we have Ian Tooley on the Concordia. Do you just want to come up, Ian, and speak your piece, and then Kathy and Dorothy, I've got you at petitions. Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Is this already on?
It is, yep.
Okay,
Absolutely.
thank you. Most residents, especially those living in Gawler East, can't figure out why our council, Gawler Council, isn't fighting hard to keep traffic from the Concordia development out of Gawler, and not fighting harder to force the Barossa Council to manage their own traffic better. If until the northeast connector road joining Concordia to the Sturt Highway is built, 2035-2042 window, if the idea is to use the Barossa Valley Way to funnel traffic onto Schomburg Drive, then surely the better way to do this is by utilising roads that link Barossa Valley Way, Lindop Road, to Schomburg Drive via Carlton and Balmoral Road. Roads such as Sunnydale Avenue, a reactivated Anne Milroy Lane, Calbeaver Road and Calperry Road, where that massive tank infrastructure is being built that one of the gentlemen mentioned, Peter, I think. All routes there are more direct, and they also keep the traffic in the Barossa rather than Gawler East. I've obtained this document called the Cheek Avenue Corridor Study, commissioned by the town of Gawler in 2024 and provided by council to the consultants AECLM in April 2025. This document was the basis of several of your secret confidential meetings during 2025 related to the upgrade of Cheek Avenue. And this document is probably still held in confidence by yourselves and its attached letters, but it's actually publicly available if you know where to look, and I did. This document was also provided by you to the Department of Housing and Urban Development and other government departments, and it was used to influence DHUD development of this document, which is called the Concordia Basic Infrastructure Scheme. And this document was signed off by the Minister mid-December 2025, and it was released just recently, in the last few weeks. Imagine the shock and horror of some residents that they experienced when they were made aware, in this case by me, because I found this document and knocked on their doors and showed them that there was a possibility that their properties could be compulsorily acquired to make way for a major upgrade and signalised intersection at Cheek Avenue and Barossa Valley Way or Lindop Road. On pages 36 and 37 of your Cheek Avenue corridor study, and as diagrams IN03 show in the main text of the Concordia infrastructure document, in both the main part of the document and in appendices G, they say that 3 properties at the intersection of Cheek Avenue, Barossa Valley Way will be compulsorily acquired. And 100% guarantee that the property on the southwest corner, and Tom who bought that with his partner just 3 months ago, can't be here tonight, had no idea, and he bought that for development. Tom and his partner bought that 2 months ago. Peter and Bev, who are here, bought theirs 3 years ago. Dan and Sam, their forever home, 2 years ago, and all bought with the understanding that one day the intersection will be upgraded to a roundabout, and that is in the document. A roundabout intersection upgrade that would not adversely affect their properties. Some of these property owners are here tonight, as I pointed out. At no point were they made aware of what was being decided about the future of their properties in the shadows. And each one of them now feels hugely let down and feels the weight as the cloud of the unknown hangs over them. A roundabout at the intersection of Barossa Valley Way and Cheek Avenue can work, especially if the design considered makes better use of the massive verge on the southeast corner, and even more space if the low-traffic Eucalypt Drive became a terminating cul-de-sac, and its connection to Cheek Avenue removed. And in doing so, it would make for a greater flow of traffic onto from Barossa Valley Way onto Cheek Avenue, if that's where you want the traffic to go. It would go south far more easily. And very importantly, it would push the roundabout intersection away. You okay for me to continue?
Absolutely.
Okay. It would push the intersection away from the properties that are affected and would prevent their acquisition. A design possibility that I am more than happy to show you. I'll meet with you and with these other people to show you the design. Roundabouts work. Look at the traffic at the Britannia roundabout in the city. I use it quite regularly. Look at the massive traffic that the Williston roundabout handles at the intersection of Main North Road and Redbanks Road. You, in fact, have just supported a very similar design for the roundabout at the intersection of Cheek Avenue and Carlton Road. And if you familiarise yourself with that diagram, which is shown in IN02 in the big document, in order to protect the properties on that intersection and to improve safety and traffic flow, one, you push that roundabout into the large verge, and two, you cut off traffic access from Cheek Avenue and Cork Road and from Melaleuca Drive onto Cheek Avenue by terminating both roads with cul-de-sacs in order to provide even more space for the roundabout and protect those properties. You can do exactly the same at the intersection of Cheek Avenue and Lindop Road and protect these properties. The final design is not finished. We know that. I've spoken to people in the department. It's not finished. We need you to back us in this, and it's a better design. While Town of Gawler can be accused of not listening much of the time, you do at least have some skin in the game and some recent examples of you listening. For example, you listened to the community concerns, and one, you removed the chicanes on Haynes Road, I think you live near there, Nathan, that you had installed. Number two, you had the speed dropped on Blanche Streets, etc., and you had the speed increased on Schomburg Drive. You supported the residents of Eckerman Avenue and had the route for the $53 million Gawler East Link Road, Schomburg Drive, changed so that it didn't go down their road. And very importantly, very recently, to appease Councillor Koch and his fellow Phillips Avenue residents, you had the Springwood roundabout design changed, moved east so that traffic could not turn down Phillips Avenue from the roundabout. And you even helped residents block the construction of the Hammerford Road Tower, communications tower, and you helped residents block the rezoning of the Vidula site. You can do it. Question, I'm almost finished. As the design detail of the Cheek Avenue and Barossa Valley intersection is still to be finalised, will you, our council, one, commit to pushing for the consideration of a roundabout design that pushes away from the affected properties and which takes full advantage of the massive verge on the southeast corner of the intersection? And two, and I think you have answered this one, will you commit to keeping the affected property owners, and I live just across the road, in the loop as things develop? And if I might just be allowed to indulge for 30 seconds more there, before you answer that question. Finally, the elephant in the room. Why is there no study commissioned by you regarding the Barossa Valley Way, Lindott Road to Murray Street corridor and the intersection of Barossa Valley Way and Murray Street? You heard tonight about 75% of the traffic. Residents from Concordia will join residents from Springwood, Barossa Valley South, Calbeaver, Sandy Creek, Lindott, and from Gawler East, not in wanting to get to the main North Road via Schomburg Drive and Potts Road, but as they are doing right now, adding to the already massive traffic congestion on Barossa Valley Way and on the junction of Murray Street, our main street, as people drive to access two things. They want to go to the electric trains at Gawler Central, and they want to go to the Northern Expressway by Redbanks Road. That will not change until the Northeastern Link Road is built.
Thank
So
you.
this is going to continue to 35 to 42. So my second question,
I think
will
we're
the town
well
of Gawler...
and truly past 30 seconds there, Ian.
Well, okay, well, my final question is, and I thank you for your generosity, will, in the interim short term, to help the traffic flow, will you consider getting rid of those concrete islands in front of Faster Pasta? And secondly, will you commit to find out how to better manage this traffic, which is just going to get worse and worse and worse?
So I've got three questions there from you, Ms. Tully, about a commitment for roundabout, where that currently sits on that state government road.
Yep.
The study of traffic down Lindott, and then I've also got, I'm going to combine the two into the Lindott Road intersection as well, being the concrete, if that's okay. Can I take them on notice? Mr. CEO, would you like to provide some feedback? You saw me talk to the CEO just before. Apologies if that came across a little bit rude. I was trying to ascertain whether or not we were going to provide any more information depending on how we went, or the street corner was actually going to be the forum for it.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In fairness, there's a couple of very complex questions that you've asked, and I want to give a very accurate and considered answer. So I'd like to take that on notice, but I certainly will commit to giving you answers in writing on those questions. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Sorry, Chris, it's very bad acoustic. Did you just ask me to put those questions in writing?
No.
No, I reckon we've got them.
I've certainly got the questions clear in my mind. I've committed to provide you the answers in writing.
Okay, beautiful.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for your generosity and time. Appreciate
No
it.
worries. Thank you very much, Mr. Tully. So that is the last of our public open forum members. We have nil deputations, nil adjourned items. We're going to move on to petitions now. Kathy and Dorothy, would you like to come and present your petition about the Jane Street development? Proposed subdivision, sorry.
Good evening, Mayor, CEO and council members. My name is Kathy Aldridge and this is Dorothy Butler. We are speaking in objection to the proposed subdivision of land at 24 to 30 Jane Street, Williston into 33 allotments. Firstly, we'd like to thank you for organising and attending the street corner meeting on the 14th of February, and I'm sure you will agree that it was an impressive turnout on the day. One of the suggestions that came out of the meeting was to start a petition. So that's what Dorothy, my husband Gary, my dog Murphy and I walked the streets surrounding the proposed subdivisions for 4 nights, collecting around 180 signatures for this petition. We appreciate the opportunity to speak on behalf of these concerned residents who signed it. The main concern is the character of the neighbourhood. The primary concern is that the proposed development is not in keeping with the established character of the area. The surrounding neighbourhood is defined by large allotments, lower density housing and open space. On a personal note, this is why Gary and I moved to Williston nearly 4 years ago. A subdivision of 33 small blocks represents a significant change to the character and streetscape. Residents are concerned about increased traffic, parking pressure and the impact on local roads, and also whether the subdivision will be accessible to emergency services and waste management. There are also concerns about strain on existing infrastructure, such as water pressure, stormwater drainage and other services. High density in this location may reduce privacy, increase noise and affect the amenity currently enjoyed by the residents. So the planning consideration, the objection is not against development itself, rather it's about ensuring development is appropriate in scale and consistent with the planning intent for the area. Approval in its current form may set an undesirable precedent for further overdevelopment. We respectfully ask that the town of Gawler refuse this application or require substantial changes so the development better reflects the existing character of the neighbourhood.
Once again, good evening to everyone that's here. The other groups expressed similar things to what we have. In fact, it was through neighbourhood word of mouth that we actually found out about it. Went from one person to the other. And I respectfully bring to your attention that many young families, both in James Street and the surrounding streets, have purchased their family-sized homes due to the block size and the general appeal of Williston. The need for space is fundamental to well-being, for children to play and adults to have gardens, both for physical activity, of growing vegetables or flowers, as well as a place to relax. Others of us have remained for decades, proof that Williston is a valuable place to live. During the destruction of the two long-established homes, which is proposed, dirt, grime and dust will filter into our houses. Combined with the noise, people's health will be at risk, particularly if you're an asthmatic, shift workers and others who have sleeping problems. The next step of construction will have a higher impact on our health and safety, with trucks and building equipment arriving at all hours. That is, if we use Knight Street as a paradigm. The yet to be completed Knight Street site has already resulted in damage to Chamberlain Road. The impact of an additional 60 plus cars with increased traffic and street parking will add to an already congested James Street. Currently, navigating James Street requires an experienced driver due to the number of cars already parked in James Street. Additionally, it is used as a thoroughfare, sometimes with little respect to the 50 kilometres an hour speed limit. And notwithstanding that the Williston and Hewitt bus is occasionally diverted from Dawkins Avenue into James Street. The infrastructure is already under strain in respect to water supply, pressure and quality, as well as sewage drainage. Stormwater is another continuing issue for residents. Access for emergency vehicles, namely ambulance, fire and police, could be severely hindered with precious time lost. Rubbish bin day with 66 bins instead of 4 doesn't bear thinking about. However, on green bin day, maybe there'll only be 33, as the proposed residents will hardly have time or the capacity for a garden. It is common knowledge that confined living is often a prerequisite for crime. If the proposal goes ahead in its present form, there will be permanent loss of two much admired houses, and this we discovered by walking the streets, and the trees which are all there, and they're irreplaceable. As a result, the street will never be the same again, so some residents are considering leaving, either permanently or temporarily, as the stress of living through this nightmare is just too much for them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Kathy and Dorothy. Ms. CEO, so just providing a bit of a high-level update on this one.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thought it might be a good opportunity to give a bit of a broad update. since our street corner meeting. So first of all, thank you for giving me the petition this evening. I certainly have it in my hot little hands. I will prepare a report for council that will come back to a future council meeting for them to formally consider. I'd like to just make a commitment that the information that was shared in the petition, but also from our street corner meeting, and particularly from the letter that James has provided to us today, I'll ensure that that's fed in to my assessing team, just to ensure they have all the facts before them when they are doing their performance assessing. And James is absolutely correct. Performance assessment is the term that's used to describe, take into account many of the factors that the community have brought to our attention. So my team are performance assessing that application as we speak. The Mayor and I, right in the middle, are preparing an email that the Mayor committed to providing at that street corner meeting, so that will be out shortly. And the last point I wanted to make, no, Mr Mayor, I've covered them. I think the key piece is, one, ensuring I share the information, and two, the report comes back to council for their information and future consideration. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, CEO. Thank you very much again for the petition and all the work that you're doing. I did actually see yourself and Murphy and Gary walking down when I picked up the girls last night. But
Sorry, Mr Mayor, I knew there was something else I wanted to share. I just want to touch on the management of contractors while they are developing the property. If I'm thinking about Knight Street and the developments going on there, it has come back to us that some of those contractors are commencing works earlier than 7 a.m. I'd ask the community to be our set of eyes, and if that is occurring, please contact council, because I'll make sure my officers go straight out there to deal with that. Contractors should not be commencing work before 7 a.m. and there's a curfew that's coming at the time, I don't get that wrong. But that's something we can absolutely jump on and manage. So I've just asked that of the committee members. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
thank you very much. It was a very well attended street corner, and thank you to not only those that are here today, but also that came on that Saturday, just over a week ago. Because we had so many attendants and so many emails, we're actually still collating it all into that email chain to hopefully provide that messaging out as well. Thank you very much for engaging with council. So I'm just seeing your hand up. You haven't... Can you not hear? Sorry. I'm really, really sorry. We've missed the public open forum ability to address council. We're now past the petition and we're about to move into general business. Yeah, I'm more than happy to catch up with you later as well. So apologies on that. We were coming over before and asking for the governance officer as well. But either way, we're going to move into the business throughout. Councillor Davies, did you have a question or looking to...
Yeah, just wanted to confirm, because usually we move to accept the petition. Are we going to wait until the next meeting to do that?
I believe we've committed to a report coming to the next meeting. Yep, we're happy with that as a procedure. Do you have a question, Councillor Hennessy?
I'm just asking that the elected members be kept in the loop, because I think there's a lot of information passing back and forth. I, for one, don't feel like I'm being kept up to date with what's happening.
Yeah, Councillor Hennessy, absolutely. The email before it goes out will be sent over to elected members first, because the elected members need to be informed with the most recent information before it goes out. Absolutely get your point. Certainly not how we're operating. Happy to. Any questions on the petition? There being none, I'm going to look for a mover for confirmation of minutes. You're happy to move that way, Councillor Hughes? You're happy to second, Councillor Lorna? Any questions, any discussion on this? There being none, I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour? That is carried unanimously. Thank you very much, members. Business arising from minutes is nil. We're going to move on to decision reports now. The first one, item 9.1, item page 5. I'm going to ask for any questions before I look for a mover, members. Any questions on this? We do have Renee in the room as well. There being no questions, I'm going to look for a mover. You're happy to move this one, Councillor Hughes. Would you like to speak?
Just briefly, this is going out for consultation. It's fairly straightforward, so it'll come back to council as well. But no, I think it's very straightforward.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hughes. Do I have a seconder? I've got Councillor Samble first. Would you like to say anything, Councillor Samble? No? Would you like to say anything, Councillor Lorna?
Yeah. Basically, that's what I'm on. Sorry, thanks. Yeah. So obviously we're dealing with public land here that belongs to our community. I believe the residents deserve a real opportunity to understand what's the purpose and the influence, the final outcome. Going out to consultation as long as we're genuine and it's not just procedural. On the flood warning, infrastructure is critical for public safety, so we strongly support that. And ensuring that the commercial arrangements represent fair value and protect council's long-term interests. In relation to the proposed revocation of Little Paxton Street, understanding the rationale, the land is being used as a operationally and not so much as a community space, and its classification should reflect reality. So yeah, I'm in support of what we're doing here as long as it comes back really good. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lorna. Any further discussion? Councillor Hughes, would you like to close the debate?
No.
You're happy for me to put that motion? I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour? That is carried unanimously. Thank you very much, members. We're on item 9.2 on page 46. Any questions on this one? It's our mid-year finance report. Again, we have Renee in the room. There be no questions. I'm going to look for a mover for the officer's recommendation. You're happy to move that way again, Councillor Hughes. Would you like to speak to it?
Just to actually thank the staff for all the drafts and information. I think there's been a lot of extra input put in, and it's all through the council reports, but it is really good to see that extra information sort of clarifies. So it would explain why there's no questions, because it's actually been really well done. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. Looking for a seconder? You're happy to second, Councillor Hennessy. Would you like to speak at all? Any further discussion? There being none. Councillor Hughes, are you happy for me to put that motion?
Yeah.
I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour? That is carried unanimously. Thank you, Councillor Samble. We're on item 9.3, page 79. Any questions on the monthly finance report? It's going to be a quick meeting. There being no questions, because the report's that good that we don't need questions, do we have a mover for the officer's recommendation? Councillor Davies.
Yep. Is this already on?
I believe so.
Yeah, look, we've all, the fact that we're not speaking about it doesn't reflect not reading it, more so that we are, well, we've had some great information sessions, and it's really helped us understand what's going on, which probably helps with the lack of questions. So happy to move this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Davies. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hennessy, would you like to speak?
Yeah, just to I echo the words, but also to reinforce that I think it's because we're being very considered and disciplined about the budget at the moment, and I look forward to that as we enter the planning stage for our next budget. I think it takes time to show the results, and we need to continue and not be distracted by bright, shiny things.
Thank you, Councillor Hennessy. A little bit of Sharon Perkins there as well. Can I, sorry, is there any further discussion on this item? There being none, Councillor Davies, are you happy for me to put that motion? I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour? That is carried unanimously as well. Thank you. Item 9.4, we have it on page 85. Any questions on this one, members? Well, sorry, there shouldn't really be any questions. I'm actually looking for a member nomination on this one, sorry. So anyone would like to be on the Gawler Heritage Committee? If there, we do have one spot to fill at this point in time, but we can open it up. You're happy to self-nominate Councillor Davies? Do I have any other members that would like to join that committee? If there isn't, Councillor Davies, are you happy for us to put your name there? Would you like to speak to it at all before I look for a seconder?
Look, it's an important committee and I've been on it before, happy to go back on it again.
Perfect, thank you very much. So Councillor Davies has self-nominated. I'm looking for a mover still though. You're happy to move that way, Councillor Hennessy. I saw your hand up. Councillor Lorna, you're happy to second. Any discussion, Councillor Hennessy?
No.
Councillor Lorna? Discussion, Deputy Mayor, yes?
Sorry, I know it's nitpicky, but just as a matter of record, my circumstances haven't since changed. At the time when we previously spoke about this, there was an intention that Councillor Gosh would go back on, and I said I was happy to fill in every now and again, which I'm still very happy to do. But my work circumstances haven't changed. That was just a one-off was the thing for me, not that I can no longer do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sullivan. Deputy Mayor Sullivan, for the clarification there. Any further discussion? There being none, Councillor Hennessy, are you happy for me to put that motion? I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour? That is carried unanimously. Thank you very much, Councillor Davies, for putting your hand up. We're moving on to item 9.5, looking for a deputy board member on page 87. Councillor Samble, are you happy to self-nominate for that one as the deputy member? So Councillor Sample is self-nominated.
He's already on. He's already a member.
Yeah, just so it'll be your deputy, your proxy. So thank you for your work you're doing. Would you like to?
Question first, please.
Yes, question.
When?
What time
would these,
CEO, are you able just to provide a little bit of feedback on when they typically meet?
Mayor, I want a clarification from David.
Through the chair, generally on a Thursday during the day, office hours, various locations around the region, so normally in the mornings. Yep.
Does that answer your question? And is your next question going to be, can you teams in? Sorry, is your next question going to be, can you teams in? Did you have a follow-up question?
Well, that essentially was my follow-up. Can we actually teams into this?
David, are you able to answer that for us?
Through the chair, I have to check that one, but I'm not sure whether the board allows teams in. Because we have that experience in the teams environment for the
Yeah, through Mr. Mayor, in my experience, they have had board members teams in where they hold the meetings. They've got the facilities. They have done it in the past.
Does that answer your question, Councillor Long?
Yeah, it does. I will put my hand up for the deputy. I know Councillor Sample there is a quite diligent person that turns up to most of the meetings and doesn't miss anything. So I will support if I've got to try and manipulate a few things around. If Teams is an option and the rest of the council is ready for me, happy for me to jump on there. It's an important product, lots of floods and stuff, so I wouldn't mind getting involved in it. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Councillor Warner. Is there any other nominations for the deputy board member? There being none, we might put Councillor Lorna there if you can, Susie, and I'll look for a move. You're happy to move that way, Deputy Mayor. Would you like to speak to it at all? No? Looking for a seconder? You're happy to second, Councillor Sample, thank you. Any discussion? There being none, I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour? That is carried unanimously. Thank you very much for putting your hand up, Councillor Warner. Okay, we're moving forward to item at 9.6 on page 90, nominations for the South Australian Public Health Council. We have an officer's recommendation on that one. Any questions? Or no, you've got a question, Councillor Hennessy?
Yeah, just wondering if perhaps we could get some indication of the benefit to council of Mr. Zasper, the staff member being part of this council.
I'll take that question, Councillor Hennessy. I'm going to direct it through to the CEO.
Through Mr. Mayor, I might refer that to Andrew or Jack, if you're willing to give us some insights.
It's like you knew that question was coming, Jack.
Through the Chair.
Yes.
Thank you for the question. The South Australian Public Health Council, although I've been sworn to confidentiality of most of the things that come out of the council through the state government, it predominantly focuses on the state's direction in everything that deals with public health and wellbeing, from things such as the avian outbreaks that we've seen in South Australia, the responses to potential avian flu outbreaks in South Australia, to regional public health planning, to resourcing implications for councils, specifically rural councils, and the issues that rural councils and regional councils are facing with relation to getting people out there, with respect to new development, with respect to affordable housing and opportunities for health and wellbeing in those communities. It deals with major policy change in legislation. It also looks at the state public health plan, which is what we've been working on in the last 12 months, to report back to the minister in order for that document to be prepared, finalised, presented, which will then drive the public health planning that this council and a number of other councils that we partner within the region work on. So it's quite a substantial work. It's very, very closely lobbies. The Minister lobbies the Local Government Association, and that filters down through into local government and helps drive policy with what we do in that space.
Does that answer your question, Councillor Hennessy? Any
It
follow-up
does,
questions?
and on that basis, I'm happy to second the motion to Councillor Hughes.
No worries at all. I haven't actually got a mover yet. I took your question first, but are you happy to move Councillor Hennessy,
Yes.
Councillor Hughes, anyone? Doesn't matter. Councillor Hennessy, I'll take you as the mover. Councillor Hughes, would you like to second? Any further discussion on this recommendation? There being none, Councillor Hennessy, I'm going to close that debate. Yes, I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour? That is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, moving forward, we have item 9.7 on page 97. Revoking confidential orders. I know there's a couple of ways that flow through. Any questions on the ones in the report? There being none, I'm looking for a mover. You're happy to move that way. Would you like to speak to what this process actually is, Councillor Hughes? Sorry to put words in your mouth.
No. I was going to speak on it anyway. It is a very important process which does take the items out of confidentiality that have been, and it also explains quite reasonably why they were in confidence in the first place. But it's a very important process, and it's very important to get it correct. And unfortunately, there are a number of matters that we do need to discuss in confidence, and this is one of the mechanisms to keep things in track and keep that transparency and bring them back out of confidentiality. So it's a good process, and yeah, there's quite a number of documents that have been released. So yeah, happy to move the motion.
Thank you very much for that explanation, Councillor Hughes. Do I have a second, Councillor Hennessy?
Yep.
Would you like to speak to it?
Yes, thank you. And I'd just like to thank staff, because it is complex, and in the past we sometimes have lagged, but we are now on top of this, I feel. And as I say, the process is flowing. There are obviously quite clearly times that we do need to go into confidence because of the complex business that we're dealing with. but as soon as we can bring them out and make them transparent, we do. So I hope that reassures our community that we're acting in the very best of the governance standards. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hennessy. Any further discussion on this one? There being none, Councillor Hughes, are you happy for me to put that? I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour? That is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving through the agenda, we have information reports nil, recommendations from committees. We have item 11.1, page 106. Councillor Davies, I see your hand up. Would you like to ask any questions first, or would you like to move?
I was going to move, but if anyone has questions, do that first.
Would you like to ask a question?
Yes, I
Councillor
would.
Hennessy? Yeah.
I just, in terms of the YAC minutes, I think we've probably all noticed that there's a motion coming up from the YAC talking about potential mural locations
Yes.
and a budget bid. Particularly in light of what we've heard tonight, but I think many of us know that growing out of what the council has led, we now have two strong community groups, PACE and Street Art, who are developing this program as a community-driven process. They've been successful in getting some funds as part of the election process, and I would encourage perhaps the YAC to talk to them and perhaps work in liaison with it, rather than council. My feeling is council has done its heavy lifting on creating murals, and it's now time for us to step back and support the community, working with a whole range of different groups and with different businesses, so that we provide support, but we let the community pick this up and run with it. So that would be my question is that possible? Thank you, Mayor, for indulging me.
So I'll probably just try to cherry pick a little bit. Moving forward in light of what we've learned tonight, Mr. CEO, how do you think we would go back to our YAC and say we are advancing or supporting or advocating? Walk us through that without your information tonight.
Yes, so just thinking on my feet, Mr. Mayor. I think the information we received tonight from James Agnes is probably new information. So I'd actually be happy to have a conversation with the YAC and have a broader conversation and encourage them, as Councillor Hennessy has articulated, to have conversations with the organisations involved. I'm sure we can gain an outcome that is mutually beneficial.
And I think because myself and Councillor Davies are also members as well, this piece of information, us being able to feedback on that collaboration piece, I think that's certainly something I'll commit to, and I'm not going to put words in Councillor Davies' mouth, but knowing his advocacy piece, I'm sure he'll be all about it as well. Does that answer your question?
It does, thank you. And as I say, I all credit to the YAC to keeping up with arts in our community. But just at the moment, I think particularly as we go into budget, this is an interesting way, and I'm sure it will be relayed back to the YAC, this alternative direction. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Do you have a question, Councillor Sample? Because I will look for a mover if we are going to debate. That's the only. So if it's a question, I'm happy to take a question. But if you would like to discuss in the debate, I'm more than happy to take that. So question or statement, Councillor Sample?
Question.
Perfect. Can you go for it?
The matter of the budget bid is for $30,000 for this particular thing. Is there any possibilities of getting grants to cover that, because the government's handing out grants fairly easily at the moment?
I'll have a crack at this one, Mr. CEO, if I don't get it right. I guess the budget bid from the Youth Advisory Committee was can we look at some public street art and the like. What we've now found out tonight by our candidate for Light, should Labor be elected, Labor have committed $30,000 to the dollar, ironically, to a street art outcome. So the recommendation and the question that Councillor Hennessy rightfully asked and the CEO rightfully answered was around, is this budget bid now moot, given the new current state of play on what investment is potentially on the table now for street art outcome, and is, instead of council money going to it, more of a collaborative approach going to be recommended. I think the CEO was pretty adamant, and that's probably going to be the recommendation. CEO?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yep, just to confirm what you're saying. My thoughts are at this point that by the time the operating budget comes back to council for consideration, we will know the outcome of the state election, and we'll know whether that $30,000 is locked in, and then that'll allow me to make a firm recommendation to council about, well, I can tell you now my recommendation is likely to be use that funding commitment and let's channel the youth's efforts into working together with the two organisations who were working with James on that $30,000 commitment, and I think we can get the outcome without council having to spend an additional $30,000.
Does that answer your question, Councillor
Yes,
Salmon?
thank you.
Perfect.
I just wanted to know, you know,
Yep.
if there was any way of missing up 30 grand, and that's great. And yeah,
Okay.
got to vote the right way and that.
That's it. So now I'm going to look for a mover. Councillor Davis, you've patiently been holding your hand up over there. Also noting that we are receiving the minutes of multiple as well. But Councillor Davis.
Yeah, so look, I appreciate the minutes of all three, but yes, I mostly did want to talk about the Youth Advisory Committee minutes. These meetings are getting quite substantial. The latest one went for over 2 hours, which may actually beat our council meeting for the month at the rate that we're tracking. There's a wide range of issues that were addressed. We have a new chair and deputy chair in Emerson and Lily who have never been in roles of leadership on the committee before, and that's really great as well. And thank you to Abby Dale, who has been our chair for the past 2 years, also for her work in the leadership. There was quite a good discussion around the Disability Access Inclusion Plan. They came to present to the Youth Advisory Committee, and there's always, as our CEO knows, there's always multiple angles to learn about disability access and inclusion, and the youth angle had a lot of interesting perspectives on, you know, issues like autism and all of that sort of thing in the community, and there was quite a substantial discussion on that, which is impressive considering we actually barely made quorum. There were, I think, 6 apologies. But everyone had plenty to say. Another thing that was brought up was the bins on Murray Street, and I would encourage anyone to read the report. The youth committee put forward a motion asking about bins and the recycling bins on the main street, and we got quite an interesting response, and I learned things that I was not previously aware of on that. And of course the potential mural locations, and I view this budget bid as being something that, as mentioned, if there are grant opportunities, that can be part of the process. I figure for now, it goes in there, and then when it comes to the point where we say, how can we fund this, like we do with so many other budget bids that are the result of grants. It goes in the budget, but we're not paying for it, for example. And so I think that's the process that would make sense at this stage. But I think we need to look at the mural locations as something that's not just about street art in itself, but about what is the purpose of the youth committee. And the purpose of the youth committee is to say, these are the priorities of youth in our town. And I think we do need to look at that and say, all right, young people are concerned about bins and buses and street art and the friendliness of the area and all of these issues, disability access. And we need to make the best use of that we can, because that's the point of a committee, is we have a heritage committee. You know, they might put things in, requests for the budget that we might not necessarily be happy with, but if they didn't put in those requests, I would say, well, why do we have a heritage committee if you're not pushing for heritage, you know? And it's the same with youth. So, you know, whether or not, you know, you're personally across this, that and the other as your priorities, it's important to acknowledge these are the priorities that young people in our town and young leaders are pushing for. So with all that, I'm happy to move the motion.
Thank you very much, Councillor Davies. Are you happy to second?
I'm happy to second. I just need to have a point of clarification.
Yes.
My understanding is that 30,000 is not coming to council. It is going to the community groups. Just that needs to be confirmed.
Yeah, so I can confirm that.
Okay.
So the election promise is actually $30,000 that would go to PACE and Collaborative Air Gawler Street Art. So Town of Gawler actually has no necessary influence over this outcome.
That's been deliberate because they will be dealing with private owners, which was an issue that we remember were very cautious about doing.
That's, and just to provide a little bit more clarity on that one too, Councillor Hennessy, with your indulgence, we have also committed to giving as much assistance as we can on the work that we've already done in this space, so you're not reinventing the wheel, and what they do with it. We have no influence or oversight with it, but I think we're going to see some good outcomes, and the YAG collaborating.
It absolutely is, and it's part, again, I'm probably repeating myself, it's part of this role which we need to get used to. We may start a process, but then we move back and allow the community to move forward. We cannot always be the provider. Sometimes we need to be the initiator, and then we move way back, because otherwise everything comes to us for payment. So I just think, you know, it's a role that I think we've fallen out of as a council, but we're now moving back into what we should be acting as.
No worries, Councillor Hennessy, thank you very much. So I've got a move, I've got a second there. I saw your hand first, Deputy Mayor, and then I'll come to you, Councillor Sample.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I take Councillor Hennessy's comments. I would just tread lightly and talk about what hasn't happened yet, because I believe I did have a conversation with someone from PACE about what the youth were doing, so there may already be that involvement there. But yeah, it would be good to, I think, flesh it out a bit more and have a discussion. But also, I take what Councillor Hennessy was saying about council's role, and I think that we have come some way with our public art policy that we created earlier in the term. But I still do think that there is some way to go, and I can say personally I've been mulling over that idea in my head of where do we need to go from here, and what does need to be clarified on that point about what council's role is in making provisions for public art, who is our facilitator in our community, and also, you know, when public art ages as an asset, where's that responsibility for? And I think that there's, I don't necessarily have a direct answer yet, but I think there's still some work to do in that space still to make sure that we can actually facilitate public art, but also we're creating opportunity and we're empowering our community to go out and do things rather than doing it ourselves. The other thing I would mention about the bins, thank you, Councillor Davies, for mentioning that as well. I think it's good that these things are brought to our attention, and certainly commend the Youth Advisory Committee on discussing that item, because it's, you know, as Councillor Davies said, I learned something, I also learned something from that. But in respect to the mural, I think here my understanding, and something I'd be interested in understanding a bit more about, is the approach to doing this mural, because my understanding has been that it'll be a process which is a bit different to the ones we've had previously, where we commission an artist to do it, but it's an active engagement of several members of our community, or young people, to actually take part in this. And I think that's the way we should view this as well. It's not just we're paying for a finished piece of art like some of the other murals there. It's an active participation by a lot of members of our community in a project which eventuates. And so that's probably a little bit different from what we've previously had with a single artist doing it. Not to say one is better than the other, but it is a very different setup.
Perfect, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Sam?
Yes, thanks, Mayor Nathan. I think I've heard what Councillor Hennessy said, and also Councillor Davies. I think I've gone along now for the last couple of years to the youth advisory meetings and that, and I've been so very proud of the retiring president, Abby Dale. And Abby sort of came in, got involved as what youth have to do to get up to date with things. And in the meetings that I attended over the last 6 months or more, her professionalism of how she ran the meeting and so forth is to be credited. I suppose where I'm sitting with this comment is, where do they go from here? You know what I mean? I mean, she now goes into the committee or may move on or whatever it may be. And if there's any sort of acknowledgement to be able to, well, hand or whatever to Abby, because I've just been so very proud as her being, you know, one young person. I mean, there's a lot of others that have come through it too as well, but it may well be that Councillor Davies and that may also have a comment on it. But I just want to pass that word on of a young lady that has gone, and I think also she put the works a bit part-time for our council at the moment. So congratulations to Abby Dale.
Thank you for those kind words, Councillor Samble. Abby's certainly an A-grader, and we benefit more with her in the community, absolutely. Councillor Davies, did you want to close the debate at all?
Sure, just to say thank you to everyone for their discussion, and thank you to Councillor Sample for his kind words. I think, I'm also quite proud of a lot of the work that's been done in the youth committee, look, the mural part has I was not, and the youth who moved it were not aware of a unannounced, election promise when this was passed. So I'm not across exactly where to go from here, but I think we'll just work naturally through it, and whatever we do, we need to communicate back to the youth and make sure that they understand that they're being heard and that their opinions are being valued. So happy to put the motion.
Thank you very much. With that, I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour? That is carried unanimously. Thank you very much, members. Working through our agenda, we have external body reports, item 12.1 on page 119. And we've got a number there. Any questions on any of them before I look for a mover? There be none. We have an officer recommendation to note these minutes. Looking for a mover, you're happy to move that way, Councillor Hughes. You want to add any words, Councillor Hughes?
Just briefly, it's really good to see all these reports. And, yeah.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hennessy, would you like to add any comments? Any further discussion? There be none. I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour? That is carried unanimously as well. Questions on notice, Neil? We have questions without notice, members. Councillor Davies?
So just on the topic of election promises, just in the last few days we've learned about a couple of major promises around technical colleges and hospitals that I would love in a future meeting perhaps to be expanded on. So just a note around that.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant question, and certainly we're struggling to keep up a little bit. But I think a high-level update on the election promises, once they're all cemented in, I think is something we all could benefit from, Mr. CEO.
I think for the very nature of election promises, I can say the Mayor and I are already aware of one of those promises, maybe 24 hours earlier. The second certainly came out of the blue. But once we kind of get through the election, we'll put together a bit of a summary document, best we can ascertain of the commitments, and then we'll hold incoming government to account.
Oh, sorry, if I may.
Oh, yeah, you've got a question or a comment?
Well, it's a comment because I just reinforce what Councillor Davies has said. It's actually quite confusing to our community, and as we heard tonight through the public forum, our community assumes that we've been involved in the discussions of these, and that leaves us in an awkward situation as elected members because we have no more information than they do.
Yeah.
So I understand we're in this election period and these are election promises, but there is a frustration, both from us as elected members and the community, that we don't know more, and we can't align it to our existing long-term financial business plan. And dare I say it, maybe there's some bright, shiny things in there that we need to be wary of.
Yeah, so don't disagree. I guess I'm just cognizant of what we can and what we can't do. We have found out about a tech college in Gawler High more recently, and I think we found out about it maybe... I found out about it by getting sent the article that was in the newspaper as well, which has no effect on Council's bottom line as a state government delivery. I see you raising your eyebrows, but it's an education commitment.
I think you would need to check with staff about curbing and access and a few other things about that. There have been discussions already.
Yeah. So I think with respect, I think we're way too premature to start talking about that micro level of delivery of a project like that at this point in time. But certainly note your point. We've also got hospital commitments from both sides of the opposition and the current government. All of those things, please be rest assured that you're finding out as much as we are along the way. But if we find out any other bits of information, we'll certainly be able to pass it on. But as the CEO pointed out, I think it's fair and reasonable that we need to let the election take its course and then see what effects actually affect us rather than try to jump at shadows at this point in time. Does that answer your question, Councillor Davies? Yeah. So we probably don't have any, that was answered on the night. Councillor Lorna?
Yeah, thanks. Mine's actually about the acquisition of these homes and that. So this report's coming out in December. Does the council have a policy or a procedure in regards that we find out that homes are going to or potentially be acquired? Do we inform the guys, or we just, that's what sort of seems to happen tonight, they find it amongst a big document and let's go to the books?
Mr. CEO?
Yeah, the problem council's got is when the state share that information confidentially with council, that ties our hands in our ability to share that outside the room. So the way this process ideally would unfold is that the Department of Housing and Urban Development makes a public announcement, then approaches the people and has the conversations. I don't want to perhaps talk negatively with the state government, but I think they should have got the house in order a little bit sooner. Andrew may have some thoughts to share.
Hopefully won't get too much feedback. Just further to what the CEO says, I think there's a few misnomers in the room about what council's role is and what it isn't. It's a state road. I guess that's the first thing. What you've got is a 5% design, which was simply to do some indicative costing so that there could be a contribution paid by Concordia Growth Area, which would otherwise not have been paid, which meant council would be paying, or some other party. What you find, and it was said during the meeting about the Carlton Road, Cheek Avenue roundabout, is yes, when you go from a 5% design to a 30% design or a more detailed design, yes, things move, and that's what's happened there. In fact, on Macmillan Parade as well, that's moving as well due to the redesign we're doing because it's flatter topography moving towards the quarry. That will happen, no doubt, at the Cheek Avenue Lyndoch Road junction, but it's just too early to say what those designs are, and I'm certainly not going to design on the run in a council meeting as to whether it's a roundabout or a set of lights when you've got 20,000 vehicles a day. But we had a meeting with DIP staff and with DHUD, and DHUD's role is now largely finished. Their role was to finish off the code amendment and to get the basic infrastructure scheme. And what you heard tonight is true, which is DIP are yet to allocate a project officer. Were they keen on identifying who that DIP officer is? Probably not. There wasn't a lot of enthusiasm to put their hand up and say, it's me. But we'll be certainly pursuing them to get someone as a matter of courtesy to all parties concerned, that as a design is developed, there's some co-designing occurring here and the proper sharing of information. But Chris is right, we can't share confidential information with people on a speculative 5% design.
Does that answer your question, Councillor Long, or we might have a follow-up?
I understand it. Answer my question, no. My question is, do we have a policy to inform people? So obviously there's a process that goes through here. We find out, it goes public. Do we notify these people? Because you won't speak yearly of the state government, but I say shit. It's pretty bad that, you know, these people are just finding out information through reading a document like that. I don't think it sits well. Understand state roads and all that sort of stuff, but these people live in our community and potentially having their homes taken away from them. So, you know.
Yeah, absolutely understand your frustration. Mr. CEO?
No, it's a fair point.
Mark?
It's a fair point. I think our role is to advocate hard to the government to say, get your house in order and have those conversations. So we just need to keep applying pressure to the state to make sure they're having those conversations. If this was a council-related road and we were doing the works and we were responsible, we'd be having these conversations absolutely in a timely fashion. But we just need to keep pushing hard with the state government so they get their house in order. Yeah, as frustrating as that is.
And I think our street corner commitment as well will probably see some state government representatives. Each one that I think we've held in the past, we have been able to get those reps there. But it's certainly a document that, to be honest, I'm actually not too familiar with. It's only just come out and I haven't had the chance to digest properly just yet, and where we landed. So we look forward to continuing the conversation, I think. But absolutely understand frustration. Does that answer your question at this point in time as much as we can?
Essentially, yes, we don't have a policy to inform these people is what the answer is. So maybe that's something that we need to look at, because obviously this comes to us a lot earlier before it gets released to the public. So if we notice that's in there, maybe we need to develop a policy to say, all right, this is going to come live. We need to get these people known before someone else goes and tells them.
No. Mr. CEO, would you like to reply on?
I hear what you're saying, but we need to be clear. We can't share anything that's in confidence, even though we absolutely want to. Yeah, we're still got to just respect that. That's all. Yeah.
We're just trying to get into a debate here about it. But we know beforehand, and then we know when it gets released. So there should be a trigger point that we know that these homes are going to be compulsory acquired. It goes public. We should be on the front foot then and having that conversation with the people. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Maybe not clear enough in what I'm saying, but that's what I'm trying to get at.
No, I understand that.
Absolutely understood, and I think agreed as well. Question, Councillor Sam?
Two questions, if I may. When do you think it would be possible to get a PA system in this chamber that works? That's number one. I mean, I know a fella's got a boat that's lost his anchor. Please put him in there as quick as you can. I got both my hearing aids in and I can hear Mick breathing until he talks into that. You know, the members of the public think this is a joke. I came to a meeting the other night, sat out there with my both hearing aids in, which I've got now. Couldn't hear a word that was being said up here. So, you know, I'm just wondering, you know, why can't we get it right? Because it's embarrassing for you and for other people and that sort of stuff too. So I was just wondering if there's any answers.
I'm certainly not going to correct you there, Councillor Sample. Mr. CEO?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I share with you, Councillor Sample, that it is not an ideal situation. Having said that, we're dealing with what we have. So we've got a 9-year-old system that died. and it's going to cost $120,000 to replace. I have the team currently working on what that looks like, but I need to put a budget bid into council to replace it. What we've got in front of us is not ideal, but it is the best workaround we can get for the moment. But please be assured, once we get a budget allocation, we will get a new system post-haste.
Thank you. And second question is, I'd just like to congratulate the Finance Department, Renee, and what's been put forward today about land that we have. Where do we move from here? Is there going to be a special meeting in the not too distant future about discussions of maybe changing a few things or whatever in that area? Thank you.
I think we've already seen a future report on the community consultation outcomes, but let's see, Mr. CEO, if you want to...
I think I know what Councillor Samuel's alluding to. There are a number of parcels of land that council has that have the potential for different uses. We had a briefing not that long ago where we shared some high-level thoughts with council. I've made a deliberate decision not to join the budget discussions with conversations about land parcels. So once the budget is put to bed, I think going forward I will then look to have a conversation with council maybe about a couple of parcels that council may look to divest or look at other opportunities. So coming up, but probably not before the budget conversation. That's my plan.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question, Councillor Samuel?
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions without notice? Okay, there be none. We have nil motions on notice. Any motions without notice, members? There be none. We're on council member attendance and activities. I'm going to go around the table. I might go last because I haven't done my homework again. Who would like to go first? Councillor Davies, I saw your hand first, and then Councillor Lorna.
Yeah, look, I've been to a few things, but I just wanted to particularly shout out a lovely Patonk tournament that we had with myself, the Mayor, Councillor Hennessy, Chris and Donna, and facing off against the Bunyip newspaper. And the Patonk Club really appreciated us coming down and giving a bit of publicity as well. And yeah, we didn't win the war, but we won at least one of the battles with the help of Councillor Hennessy, who is actually turns out our secret weapon at Patonk.
Thank you, Councillor Davies. We're going to have to get some training in. Who would like to go next? Mick, sorry, Councillor Lorna. Sorry.
It's just to the street corner at Jane Street there, so that was good turnout, and got to speak to a few people in the background and just lurk around in the backgrounds. But yeah, no, it was good turnout, and the council went out and committed to the people where technically they really didn't have to. So hats off to the guys and the staff to actually tell them to try and get the information out the best they could. It was good turnout. There's a lot of good comments from the community, and there's a lot of concerns which are valid. So it's a good event. So best it could be, I guess. So, yeah.
Thanks you, Councillor Lorna. Jane Street. Yeah. Just let me take a catch up. I'm looking for next.
I've submitted a list, but so I just draw attention to the Gawler Repair Cafe, which has now been going for a number of years and grows in strength. It complements the community's use of the elderly centre. I think that draws people who don't normally think that an elderly centre is relevant to them. When they walk in and see what a fantastic venue it is, they then start asking questions about how they can use it. So that might call to our minds that perhaps at some stage I can't believe I'm saying this, we may need to consider renaming that building. I think that would be about the 6th or 7th time council has put their mind to that, so I know it's not an easy task.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hennessy, and thank you for doing your homework. You certainly make.
Can we see the list?
Susan.
Sorry, I didn't realise that hadn't been moving. Sorry, my apologies.
Perfect, thank you very much. Councillor Sullivan, would you like to speak to your items?
Yeah, sure. Sorry, just added there on there. That's okay. I'm still getting used to it as well. I'll just add one there, which is on the 12th of February. Just attended the budget community drop-in session, which was good. We had some great conversations. With people there. Look, it's always hard with those ones to get people engaged with the budget, but I think it was good to see a few people come in and have a look around and write some feedback. Opened the Gawler Fringe on behalf of the Mayor, first time representing the Mayor there, so that was well attended. Actually, we had to get some extra seats from the back of the room as well to make sure we had enough for people, so that was good. And then this morning attended the opening of Adelaide University's Yarning Circle at their Roseworthy campus, and that was Autocorrect doesn't like that one, but yeah, Yarning Circle there, and that was good. That was a good ceremony as well. Beautiful campus there. A lot of people who attend that campus. From conversations this morning, about 120 or so of them live on campus, but many of them, of course, live in that outer urban area, including Gawler as well. So that was good to attend that one as well, and they'll have those yarning circles as part of their wrap on each of the new Adelaide University campuses.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Got Councillor Davies. Anyone else want to go before I quickly give my list? Perfect. All right. Thank you very much. I've got from last council meeting, Councillor Koch's funeral. I think is certainly worth a mention. The amount of people there was a credit to Councillor Koch. It was a great honour to just be a part of the service as a spectator and learn about Councillor Koch outside of the chamber as well as in. We then went through, I had the honour of drawing the Royal Flying Doctors annual raffle with Kay. They do great work, and it was a great sort of plug for council to be able to draw the raffle. And I also went to the Coloured Horizon Living Details exhibition at the Gawler Gallery as well on the Friday. That was February 6th. I think that was a really well attended event and just showcasing more of local art. Then we also had a Petanque challenge, which again I think Councillor Hennessy carried the majority of the team for the day. We couldn't quite get the W, but I'm sure next year we'll get it done. I attended the Gawler District College to be able to talk about, it was actually a bit of a surreal experience, but the Ducks was announced and celebrated on the 9th of February at Gawler District. And again, it was great to represent council at that, even though I certainly was the furthest thing from a Ducks student. So we also went into, sorry, Susie, this is my fault. We'll pick up some of these as we go. 10 a.m. street corner on 14th of February, as Councillor Lorna pointed out, we had 50 plus people there. Very engaged, very passionate people. and we're seeing some of that come through the communication channels as well, I'm sure we can all agree. It must be election season because we've had a few ministers visit the town for reasons, one reason or another, and I was able to catch up with our local government minister, Joe Stockach, at the RSL, where he announced a great, I've seen the Deputy Mayor smile, I know I've said that name wrong.
What's he announced? Sorry, what did he announce?
He announced some funding for the RSL for some more equipment that's going to actually help them deliver on delivered meals to veterans and just provide an extra service they haven't actually
That was
done.
with his other hat on as Veterans Affairs Minister.
Yes, sorry. Yes, I was. Yep, absolutely. Thank you, Councillor Davies. We also managed, the CEO and I managed to catch up with Minister Lucy Hood as well, and Councillor Hennessy was there too, where we talked about the mosaic work that's going on down Dead Man's Pass, which is looking absolutely stunning, but the funding is going to be released so to be able to see that project continue on. I was able to catch up with the chair of the RDA on Friday or the 20th to talk about their strategic plan and just make sure that Gawler is still in their mind and what we would like to see and talk about our strategies and our plans and what that could link in. I unfortunately missed, thank you Deputy Mayor for stepping in for the Fringe opening. I missed the opening event, but I was able to open, I was honoured to open an exhibition with Martin Johnson and Sally Brock, I believe her last name was, just in 2 exhibitions. Go in, check it out. Really made the place of the PA quirky pub, but it just made it that much more comfortable. And I'll be there again next Sunday, opening more of their map as part of the Fringe. And this morning, yesterday we caught up with Minister Blair about the the technical college announcement, which we found out probably that morning. For me, it was a bit of a humbling experience because obviously I'm a trade-based mayor and I think it's going to be a great asset to our region more broadly. And today I joined the CEO at the opening of Headspace, the official opening of Headspace in Gawler. Really well attended, and they've done an amazing job with that building. I remember going in there when it was a gym and I can't even place myself what that used to look like. So, and we are now here. So, yes, thank you very much. And once again, I really I'll apologise for the list. I'll work with that with you, Susie, offline. Perfect. Thank you very much, members. Councillor Samble.
Yeah, I didn't say anything. I've got to say something. What I want.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I suppose it's a bit of a bitch and also a praise to the opening of the Fringe. I thought Deputy Mayor did a fantastic job there the other night. And the catering, the way it was organised, perfection. There's no doubt about it. But you know me, I like to look around the room to see who's there, and I thought it was poorly attended. I don't know, but I think I heard the Mayor say it was a Deputy Mayor said it was well attended. But so many of the people there were artists and people that had displays and things like that. I just wonder where we're slipping back in letting our community. Since then, I've actually spoken to a number of people and said, I didn't see you Friday night at the opening of the Fringe. Didn't know it was on. Now, I don't know what we can do about it, but I just got to praise the way it was organised, the spread, the yummy food, the drinks and all that sort of stuff, and the speakers. I thought it was fantastic, but I think we've got to do it better to get people to come to these shows that have been organised properly, and we're not getting the community there. So that's my whinge and my happy part or whatever. At least I've said something. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Samble. Noted. Okay, so that's the intent. Did you have another one that you wanted to add?
Yeah, sorry, I
Councillor
just
Davies?
remembered it. So I will be playing tennis on Friday on our newly developed courts, which have just properly opened up.
You're playing tennis?
Yeah. No, We haven't had a home game all season, so it's been exciting to be back at the newly developed tennis courts and to see how it goes.
You play? I don't play, Councillor Sandel, no. Did you have a point that you wanted to add in, Mr. CEO?
Oh, Mr. Mayor, I'm breaking all the rules. I thought it might be a good opportunity just to give a very quick update on the opening of our time capsule. It was,
okay.
I can share, it was actually opened today, and I have some images that I will share with the council in about half an hour's time. But I can report that the contents of the time capsule were in absolute pristine condition. From what I could see, it looked like the documents were brand new. So that seal in that lead container must have been totally, absolutely airtight. So the process from here, coming back a step, Tori has taken some videos and she's putting together a post and a documentation that we put on our website for our community to experience. The process from here is the documents were folded up extremely tightly, and they now have to be allowed to expand gently in their own time so that we don't, break a brittle piece of paper. And then they will ultimately make their way back to Gawler to be stored in our collection downstairs. So watch this space. There will be some posts coming out once the team have compiled a couple of videos and also prepared the website page for our community to be informed.
Perfect. Thank you. I have a funny feeling, Councillor Hennessy, you want to
Yeah, but also Councillor Hennessy wants to jump in. Can I just point out, in addition to all that, and the excellent work that staff have done here in Gawler, these are documents of state importance, state heritage importance, which type of ties in nicely with the fact that we've just renovated a state heritage wall. So we are custodians of the state's history as much as we are our own history. So I think with that type of publicity that comes, I think you'll find people from the city, and I know there's a McKinley Society, they will come streaming. So all good.
Fantastic points, Councillor Hennessy. Thank you very much for that update. That's exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing it all unfold.
No goal?
If there was, we'll never know, Councillor Sandel. I'll never know. Yeah. Thank you very much, members. Busy month as always. With the indulgence, I think that's all now accepted, Susie. We're happy with that. I might stop for a 5-minute break, just take a breath, and we'll move into our confidential reports. Thank you.
Oh yeah, no. It's just maybe it's time to shake that a bit.
So that's
Leave him out there. It'll be quieter.
absolutely.
As soon as they contacted me, I had the big meeting.
Yeah.
They wanted to know the contact was. I couldn't give it to them.
Okay. Yeah.
The same day and said, look, it's a bit of pressure on them to identify someone. The answer is
So that's probably not
the residents.
I understand that's probably what I'm getting at is we know prior to that, we know when we don't know
is it's very likely the design that makes it's not going to be any position of any problem because the location of the red
not until it's released it becomes. When it comes released, then it's like, well, we don't know.
When it's detailed design, which actually confirms the likely location, then you'll know which properties are affected, which ones are not.
When does the you do that? And I'm not saying to tell. I'm not saying to tell that out. But when they send
The answer we don't know. We don't know when they're going to resolve. We're thinking hopefully it might be designed exponentially. So it might be the year after. What's happening?
So just walk me through. So okay, the documentation that Bar talking through gets approved.
Just give you a dollar value.
Yeah. So the acquisition is not there when they're saying it's compulsory. It's not.
That's a it can be simple and none of them may include acquisition.
Yeah.
It might not.
So we still see that report. So what I'm sort of getting at is if we're I completely understand that, but that's not the argument. My sort of thing is okay, we know this, then we should really once it goes that's going live now, it's public domain, just forget social media. Yeah. And then because you'll know which residents are saying. Oh, personally, I'd like to see that either drop in a letter from the council going, this is happening, talk to give us more information. You know what I'm saying? I used to say, like, if you've got a letter going,
we won't do that. Did you view it because they're going to be funding that they actually know what up to this we go.
Our list is in there, so it doesn't take us.
Yeah, there's the big genuine engagement. Yeah, everyone understands what my life is. It's all the ideas.
That side of it's completely out of what he's not an engineer, whatever's going to yeah, I guess it's probably, you won't, I can understand what you're saying. It's just going over my thing. It's just, we know that they're going to release this to the public. Our people. Yeah, I just wonder, whether we can, is it a big issue to get that information to them and saying, we have no information yet, but this is a boring thing, every scary. But this is the possibility. It is different because we are taking and like I don't know, Drain Street, the numbers and I talk to people about if someone's not going to do someone's not going to fall, I take so the only part of the position I'm not saying nothing about it. Somebody saying that will probably happen. That will impact on our community people. I look at those people we're going to take a position on land and that. But some people,
including when they're going to lose any land in the world, or they're going to lose their house, what the market value is, anything we tell them is wrong. And then if I do that, a resident gives direct advice.
oh yeah, no. There is obviously leeway on what you need today. What I'm getting to is probably just that pure notification to them. So it's not usually it's not
basic infrastructure scheme. really much. That's all I can really tell them. Yeah, that's what I think. Maybe with the social media or something. Maybe that's
maybe that is, or like, I know if it gets on the street, but if we're talking about 3 or 4 homes and do a drop, we know these guys are going to be affected. This comes out and he sends a notification to say, hey, read it, take care of it.
I think the most important thing is but generally, and I found maybe this is the speakers going on towards the end already.
Get me too, mate, believe me.
Yeah, I could see your frustration.
It's only done. It's a moment where the strip me.
No, in a good way.
It's not council policy, it's basic infrastructure scheme.
Which is one about this we sort of set a precedent.
Which was basically yeah. Sometimes it's actually better just to put them around and tell them what the story really is, which is
that's right. It's right. Just this is what it is. Yeah.
People tell me anything they said has any bearing on their assessment. It doesn't.
No, that's right. Well, I felt like saying that's whatever's going to happen. If they answer to that,
it's like they think we don't know. We know what the issues are. Yeah, assessed.
Yeah, that's right. But it's that roundabout with traffic lights.
I could pick it up as a we might take our seats if we can. We better get back to work. Seconds until we go live. Thank you very much, Susie. We're back after a break and we are on item 18.1. We have as officer's recommendation and confidential reports to move into confidence. Would you like to move that way, Councillor Davies? Would you like to just speak to the reasoning?
Yeah, I'm happy to explain the reasoning for going to confidence. It's around commercial information of a confidential nature, and specifically relating to information in the report that may prejudice the Gawler Shows Society's commercial position with suppliers and/or contractors.
Thank you very much, Councillor Davies. Do I have a seconder? You're happy to second that. Councillor Hennessy, any further discussion to move into confidence? There being none, I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour? Thank you very much. And for those that might be tuning in, we are now in confidence. This being our last item, we'll probably close the meeting after this item. Thank you very much.